My videos don't necessarily promote one religion. My views and opinions aren't meant to change the minds, opinions, or beliefs of others. Watch with an open mind. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, entertainment, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All rights and credit go directly to its rightful owners. No copyright infringement is intended. We continue to uncover the profound wisdom within the timeless scriptures. Take care, and God bless.
This story starts with the best of intentions. You've heard me say that your past does not define you. Your mistakes do not define you. But there's a caveat to that truth. It doesn't mean that what happens to you has no meaning. It doesn't mean that people can't hurt you. And it certainly doesn't mean that you're not allowed to feel pain or carry scars. Because while our past may not define us, the feelings we have about it sure do. And whether it's the friend who steals from you, the boss who abuses you, or the intimate partner who cheats on you, these experiences are not only valid, they're also extremely common. So today we're going to be talking about one of the most difficult topics in all of healing, when the friend becomes the predator. But before we get into this important conversation, remember that I have a weekly newsletter full of extra resources for healing, self-growth, and spirituality. If any of that sounds good to you, link in the description below. Let's go ahead and get started. So let me ask you a question. Do you ever have the feeling that somebody close to you, perhaps a friend, perhaps a partner, is taking advantage of you? Do you feel like they use your kindness, your empathy, your generosity, and turn it against you? Does it seem like they take just enough from you without giving anything back? Have you tried to talk to them about it, but they either gaslight you or minimize your feelings? When was the last time someone did something for you? And I don't mean something big. What about something small? How often do you think about it? Are you constantly replaying it in your head? Are you blaming yourself for something that happened? Is it keeping you up at night? Or maybe you're suppressing those thoughts, pushing them down because you don't want to feel that way. Either way, these are signs that something's wrong. Something feels off. And that feeling is your intuition trying to tell you something. Pay attention. A person can be an acquaintance, a colleague, a classmate, a friend, a family member, a partner, a sibling, and every other label in between. And yet, even with all that variety, how do you know when it shifts from being a relationship to being an invasion? The answer isn't easy. I wish I could give you a clear-cut guide with actionable steps and foolproof advice, but I can't. But what I can do is give you some red flags to look out for, things to consider so that you can start to recognize when it's happening. First, the invisible shift. It happens gradually and insidiously. One day everything seems fine, and the next day you can't quite put your finger on it, but something feels different. Where you once felt comfortable, now you feel a little wary. Where you once trusted their motives, now you find yourself questioning their intentions. They may not have changed, but you have. And as you grow, as you change, as you become more authentically you, some people will fall away. That doesn't always mean that there was something wrong, but it could be a sign that it's time to reassess the relationship. What were your boundaries in the relationship? Did they change? Has that made you uncomfortable? What is your gut telling you? Second, red flags in plain sight. We've talked a lot on this channel about gaslighting, manipulation, and emotional abuse. These are all red flags. And if you see these red flags, then please listen to your intuition. Don't make excuses or try to explain it away. In fact, I want you to call bullshit and walk away. Yeah, there is no excuse for abusive behavior, and no amount of love or compassion will change that. But there are other less obvious red flags. You feel anxious around them. Even though you once enjoyed their company, now you dread getting their calls or seeing their text messages. You avoid spending time with them because you don't want to engage in their drama. You don't want to get pulled into their chaos. But it goes deeper than that. You may not even be able to articulate why you feel that way, but you just know that you don't like how you feel around them. Maybe they make you feel inadequate or insecure. Maybe they never listen to you. Maybe they're always late or flaky. Maybe they overshare or pry. When we spend time with people who bring us down, we subconsciously associate the two. So even if nothing happened, even if they did nothing, you still feel anxious around them because your brain is looking for the next betrayal. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Listen to that feeling. It doesn't mean that you're being overly sensitive or too emotional. It means that you're attuned to your inner wisdom and you would be wise to follow her guidance. Third, The predator's playbook. There are patterns that predators use to gain power and control over their victims. You've probably heard of love bombing, where they shower you with excessive kindness, compliments, and affection, building you up just to tear you down later. Or slowly does the manipulation begin. They might start making subtle jabs at you, finding little ways to irritate you, testing to see if you'll bite. And when you do, they dig deeper. As they gain more and more power, the kindness turns to coldness. The warmth turns to criticism. The compliments turn to mockery. At the same time, they isolate you from your friends and family. They undermine your relationship so that you're dependent on them. You may start to second guess yourself. You may start to doubt your intuition. You may start to feel like you're going crazy. You may start to feel ashamed or humiliated. And that's when you know that something's wrong. You know that you're being abused, manipulated, gaslighted, but you still stay. Why? Because by that point, you're invested. You've given so much of yourself to this relationship that the thought of losing it terrifies you. You fear being alone. You fear being judged, so you stay even though deep down you know that you shouldn't. This is where most people get stuck. And I want you to hear me when I say that you are not at fault. You are not to blame for staying. You are not to blame for being taken advantage of. You are not to blame for being abused. A part of healing is learning that you are worthy of respect and kindness. You are worthy of healthy, loving relationships. You are worthy of setting boundaries and having them respected. You're worthy of speaking your truth and being heard. You are worthy of expressing your needs and having them met. Once you realize that, once you internalize that, once you believe that, then the decision to leave becomes easier. Then you can reclaim your power. Then you can start to heal. Now, I know that this is easier said than done, which is why I created a 7-day email course called Reclaim Your Power. Each day you'll get an email with a guided meditation, journaling prompts, and actionable steps to help you reclaim your power and move forward in your life. I've seen firsthand how many women struggle to set boundaries and actually follow through on them. They know that something's wrong, but they're afraid to leave, so they stay. And the longer they stay, the deeper they sink into the quicksand of abuse. Don't get me wrong, leaving doesn't have to mean cutting them out of your life completely. If you're able to, you can try to have a conversation with them, express how their actions have affected you, set some boundaries and see if they're willing to respect them. But ultimately, you have to do what's best for you. And if that means walking away, then that's what you should do. It's better to be alone than to be in a toxic relationship. It's better to be independent than to be codependent. It's better to be free than to be imprisoned by fear. Moving forward, healing looks different for everyone. For some, it means getting into therapy. For others, it means joining a support group. For others still, it means writing down their experiences to process their emotions. Whatever it looks like, it's important to find what works for you. And to give yourself the time and space to heal. Don't rush it. Don't force it. Don't expect yourself to snap back to normal. Give yourself the time and space to grieve what was lost, to mourn the relationship that could have been, to feel the anger and resentment that you're feeling. You may feel guilty for feeling that way, but those are valid feelings too. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel betrayed. It's okay to feel like you were taken advantage of. Those feelings are valid. Those feelings are real. And those feelings deserve to be acknowledged and processed. Only then can you move forward and find peace. Before we go, let's finish with a prayer. God, I pray for strength and courage for those who are dealing with predators in their lives. Help them to see the red flags and listen to their intuition. Give them the strength to walk away from toxic relationships and the courage to speak their truth. Thank you for hearing my prayer. And as always, I hope that you find peace.
Thank you all for watching this here video.